The Speed Force this time, we're not going to necessarily see Barry's experience in the Speed Force. We'll see kind of the effects that the Speed Force has had on Barry, and he's been in there 6 months real time, but the way I see it is the Speed Force is kind of non-linear with time, so Barry has experienced kind of his entire life from start to end, infinity times over, since he's been in there. So he's going to have kind of an awakening when he comes out. I think he's got some knowledge that he probably doesn't even quite understand yet. He'll also be a little scrambled. He won't really be himself the first time we see him.
Hey everybody, Flash is almost back. Grant Gustin is talking about Barry coming out of the Speed Force with all kinds of new knowledge and abilities, so let's break it down. There were also a bunch of you asking about the negative Flash, who has all these crazy new powers in the comics. I'll explain that after I talk about Flash Season 4 stuff, because I'm not expecting a whole bunch of that to happen on the TV show this year. Negative Speed Force is a slightly different concept, and the whole idea is that they're trying not to go back to that speedster well again, so they'll probably save Negative Speed Force for the next time the Reverse Flash gets a big story. But all the Rebirth stuff that Grant Gustin's been hyping up has served a couple important functions. One, that they start the new season with a new version of Barry that can just dump all the baggage from the previous seasons. So no more mopey Barry, sad crying about things that he can't change or trying to change things and getting that damn it Barry response from all his friends. Even Candace Patton was joking that they should rename the show Damn It Barry because so much of the show just turns on all the mistakes that he's made the last couple of seasons. Flashpoint, damn it Barry, how dare you? Didn't we have this lesson during season 1? So Grant Gustin, the producers, are saying that all that bullshit's gone. You show up with a new version of Barry that's lived what seems like several lifetimes in the span of the last couple months since we last saw him go into the Speed Force. So it's sort of like the Etch-a-Sketch way to fix your character. It's a really clever way too because it makes sense. The Speed Force is a place that exists beyond space-time. So if somebody went in and came out with a completely different personality, it would actually make sense. So he'll still be the Flash. He's still the comic book Flash. But the writers, the actors, don't have to hang on to any of the stuff they feel like didn't work out or didn't really go the way they wanted to last season. Like the big comment is that they waited too long to do the Savitar reveal. Things got a little too dark, a little too depressing. He just comes back now and he's a completely different person. Boom, poof, problem solved. You've probably heard them referencing Season 1 a lot. Like, we really liked the way Season 1 felt. It was exciting to be the Flash, to learn about all these new abilities every single week. So number 2, Barry comes out of the Speed Force and he can do that again because like Grant Gustin says in this interview, he doesn't fully understand everything. He has all this new information and he just has to start to sift through it. That's actually happening on Game of Thrones right now. He comes out of the Speed Force with ultimate knowledge and abilities, but doesn't completely understand how to use it or how to access it on command. So you get your upgraded, more powerful version of the Flash in the future Flash costume, big costume upgrade right off the bat. But week to week, you also get to see him discover new abilities like, oh my god, I didn't know I could do that. So there's a lot of cool abilities from the comics that they could choose to do on the TV show. Most of them are destructive abilities, which I'm not expecting. Like, the finger snap, he can create sonic booms when he snaps his finger. The reason why they probably don't do that is because they'd have to replace all those windows every time they wanted to shoot a scene. So that's probably why you haven't seen that on screen yet. But the whole idea is that the new powers that you see each season have something to do with him fighting the villain. So if this season's villain is the Thinker, then there'll probably be more mental-based powers. So what I'm expecting is it'll be a slightly upgraded version where he can retain anything that he reads for 30 minutes. So he can become an expert on anything for up to 30 minutes. So if the Thinker is so much smarter and complicated than villains that he's faced before, he's going to have to learn how to be a better detective, which is one of the reasons why they probably chose to go with the elongated man, because in the comics, he's a detective too. And what have we not seen on The Flash the last couple of seasons? Barry doing really good CSI work. Like most of the CSI stuff last season was all Tom Felton's character. So they said they're going back to Season 1 vibe. What did he do during Season 1? He did a lot of CSI work. So it sounds like he'll be using new abilities to aid in detective work. But there are also a couple of other abilities that are really easy for them to do on screen. One of the new ones that they showed off during Season 3 that Barry never really figured out was how to travel extra fast using the Speed Force as a conduit. So normally the Flash runs through three-dimensional space, like he just runs from point A to point B as fast as he can. But there's all kinds of drag, heat buildup, and any mental obstacles that he might have. The fastest way to run is actually to jump into the Speed Force, which exists beyond space-time, and then just jump back out at whichever point you want to be at. So that's how you could go across the Earth in an instant. He wouldn't run across the Earth. He would sort of tunnel through the Speed Force the way that we saw Savitar do in the first couple of episodes. And also another ability is a way to passively borrow and give speed to other speedsters. So like he and Wally are helping out on a problem, and he needs to help Wally be faster. He can just grant Wally a portion of his speed, or vice versa. But when you're thinking about new abilities for the Flash to have, just remember that he's fighting the Thinker, and he's not so much like a big villain like Zoom that you would just try to outrace or punch in the face. He's a mastermind character playing four-dimensional chess, so Barry has to learn how to play chess better using his Speed Force abilities. But obviously it's a television show, so it's not going to be the two of them sitting at a table all season. So let me know in the comments, which other new powers do you want to see him use during this season? He's already done most of the things we've seen the Flash do, but he has to go full Neo. Like if you've read that original Thinker arc that Geoff Johns wrote, it reads very much like the Matrix movie. In that story, the Flash winds up beating him inside digital space, not in physical space. And normally that'd be a big disadvantage for him. But as of right now, I believe they're finishing filming episode 4, maybe beginning episode 5. We've already seen the elongated man on set. That's who this actor is. There's been no mention of Sue Denby, so I'm expecting it'll just be him, and it might be before he meets her. Maybe she's dead, and it's some sort of tragic thing like Caitlin lost Ronnie during season 1. Like, my girlfriend died in the particle accelerator explosion. So we'll see about that, but I think he's going to be what you see is what you get, with the exception of the powers. Like, wow, you have some crazy abilities. You look kind of like Mr. Fantastic. So I'm expecting all kinds of memes when he debuts on the show. I think it's going to be either episode 3 or episode 4. It's not going to be right away. But as for Negative Flash, like moving into pure comic book stuff, if you haven't been reading the Flash comic book, Reverse Flash tried to trap Barry in the negative Speed Force. It backfired. He became infused with the negative Speed Force and came out almost with a completely different personality, completely different powers. It's almost like he's been poisoned, and now he's trying to learn how to use those new abilities and figure everything out. But his Speed Force energy, he calls it unpredictable. The negative Speed Force, when it leaves speed trails, will just blow stuff up. It's this really explosive force. So he takes down some criminals and then turns around to see what's happened in the wake of their run. And he winds up causing way more damage himself than any of the criminals did. Like, he literally rips the street apart. So it makes you wonder if that's part of the reason why the Reverse Flash was such an asshole, because Barry suddenly gets a lot madder. It's almost like he's been on steroids. Like, the smallest thing will set him off. He's much quicker to anger. I'm mad. So you see this face here and you're like, okay, he looks exactly like the Reverse Flash here. Maybe these are some of the things that made the Reverse Flash such an evil person. So, like I said, I'm not expecting the TV show to ever address this stuff this season without the presence of the Reverse Flash, and they haven't said exactly when he's coming back. Right now, odds are after the mid-season finale, and they'll just spend most of the first half of the season dealing with all the new Barry stuff, like, oh my god, everything's new, Barry's a little bit different, he has new powers, there's a couple new characters, there's a new villain called the Thinker. Then the second half of the season, then they'll start to bring back some of the really big stuff. But we do know that Gorilla Grodd, for instance, is going to guest star a lot on Legends of Tomorrow. He'll be one of the bigger villains of that season, so that'll be pretty cool. So lots of Flash stuff happening all over the Arrowverse. So leave all your requests for Flash videos in the comments below. I'll say congratulations to the latest giveaway winner, Kobe Shank. You win a Flash ring. Please private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. There was a new round in this video. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber, leave a comment on the video. And while you wait for everything, you can click here to rewatch that new Justice League trailer, and you can click here for brand new Game of Thrones. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.